Good evening. Hope everyone is doing well tonight. Hopefully my audio is better tonight. I put on my headphones. I got to get new ones because apparently the jack's messed up on them. But I put on my headphones and readjusted my EQ for my mic, and I think it was really bass heavy, and I think that might have been what the problem was. When I do it this way and I don't have headphones on, the only thing that I can go by is the level of volume that I speak. As for the quality, I can't really hear it. I've got a stereo on under the desk, and I do monitor myself, but it's not very loud, and I can't really hear myself over myself, if you know what I mean. So I could turn it up, but then it will cause an echo into the mic, and I don't want to do that. So anyway, I think I'm set, and if not, if it still sounds like crap, let me know, and I'll dig deeper. I'll figure it out one way or another. So, and hey, this mic was bought in 2016, and it's a cheap generic knockoff. So it could be my mic's going to the crapper too, and well, that is what it is. I can't afford a new one now. I do have another one of these, but it seems to me like I had a mic start to sound crappy, and I swapped it out, and I am on the second one. So I'll try though. If it still sounds bad, let me know, and I'll swap it out. See if that's what the problem is. I've gone through all the connections and everything else, and can't find anything else other than, like I say, I was pretty heavy on the bass, and I could have accidentally cranked it up a little higher than what it was. I don't know what I keep it at. I don't really pay attention. There's only a couple of knobs I ever really turn on that thing after I get it set up, so I don't really pay attention to the exacts of where everything else is. So anyway, craziness. And I'm just exhausted. I'm dramaed out. I don't know, I just like to have just a calm, easygoing, there has been quite a bit of, if I'm not mistaken, and I can't go by really so much news articles. There are some, few, far between, but I think things might be a little heavy right now in Ukraine, and I don't know that it's getting out there. Lots of things are going on over there. Of course, the first casualty of war is the truth, and so you got claims coming from both sides, and you know, it is what it is. I do believe that Russia is wholly in control of Bakhmut, and it's easier for me to call it that name than it is the other name that I haven't said it right once, I guarantee it. Bakhmut, I might be right. Or close. I would say keep a close eye on things. Man, this administration we have, you can't even put a finger on which direction they're going to go. You can't. Why do I say that? Well, now it sounds like Biden's pretty hell-bent on making sure that Ukraine gets F-16s, my apology, F-16s. So, the timeline, we talked about it yesterday a little bit. So, I believe it was Germany piped up, and they mentioned something about possibly maybe having a couple extra F-16s or something, you know. And the United States jumped in and said, well, we'll provide training. And Germany stepped back and said, well, maybe we don't have any F-16s. And if I'm not mistaken, Biden came back and said, oh, no, you got a F-16. So, I don't know what's going on with that. Will it be a line in the sand? I don't know. I honestly thought the long-range missiles was going to be, and maybe it was. I don't know that Russia would have necessarily responded to that stuff yet. And like anything else, there's going to be a buildup. You know, eventually Putin's going to get tired of it. So I don't know. I feel like Wayne's World and we're trying to play a damn game of hockey in the middle of the street and we have to keep saying game on, game off. You know what I mean? Wasn't that Wayne's World? I don't remember. It's a movie you get stoned and watch, right? So you expect me to remember it? Oh, hell no. Anyway, game on. Same thing with the China deal. Biden even has said something to the effect of he expects the China situation to quote-unquote fall. I don't know. I have no idea what the hell is going on. I really don't. And I try following it closely. I try not looking directly into the light. You know, I try to look around. I try to figure out what the truth is because I understand that not likely I'm going to get it from any source. Really, Hexafoosh just said the WEF just refreshed their warning over catastrophic cyber event. Interesting. Hang on. Put user in timeout. There we go. No, I was trying to see if I could copy your message, but it's not letting me. Oh, wait. Yeah, well. Hang on. Don't be like banning them or nothing. Copy. No ban. Okay. I'm great with technology. Let's see. Cyber Apocalypse 2023. Dun, 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 dun. That's February 6th, 2023, though, so. Hang on. Let me click on news and let me click on that stupid thing and see if I can find something recent, past week. And then, let me truncate that search. WEF. Warning. Cyber event. Yeah, take that. And that. And that. Okay, let me see what we got here. Leonardo DiCaprio. No, that ain't it. Well, I'm not seeing anything. When did this happen? I have January 19th, 2023. January 20th, 2023. I've got a lot of dates back in January and February. But I'm not... And that might be the prior one that you were talking about. Yeah, WEF warning cyber event though should bring up the new information. And contrary to popular belief, I don't have problems using Google when I do searches. I know, and I know that other search engines will give you different results, and in many cases more results, but I don't need to really worry about that. I've never had a problem. Let's see. WEF. Let me just put WEF cyber event and see what happens. May 27, 2022. January 19th. Yeah, I keep going back to January. Oop, 1 week. Nope, that's different. A month ago. far-reaching. This could be somewhat related to it. This was a month ago that was put out. So, yeah, I just figured I'd look because that's a pretty important thing, especially with one of the articles I have open. And my apologies for taking the time out and doing that while you stare at my dumbass from behind. I have some news in here that could actually be tied into that. So, and I'm sure many of you have probably, maybe, heard about it. I don't know what's up. Just saying. It would appear something. Let me go ahead and take you on over. That's actually the first article I have for you. Now, before we get started, though, I do want to comment on the thumbnail picture for the show tonight. The thumbnail picture is 4 images given to me from Fire Marshal Bill that watches the channel here. And I asked him if he would, because he knows how to use that AI picture thing a lot better than I do. I haven't really messed with that stuff too much. And I know he's messed with it a little bit and, knows how to work it. And so I asked him to ask it to do some images of New York City after World War III. And those 4 images are what it brought up. And I thought it was pretty crazy. Get switched over here. I thought it was pretty damn crazy. That was one of them. That's one of them. What was the first one? Okay, the people. That's one of them. And that's one of them. So, I find this a bit interesting. More than a bit interesting. I don't know. What would your thoughts be on that? Because I could see it as several things. I could see it as weather events related to the pole shift. I could see that as an EMP, an aerial burst nuke. Either way, whether it's intended for an EMP or whether it just was an aerial burst. And don't look too much into it. I'm just saying, Just saying. I think AI and the time that it's been here already has grown and learned exponentially. Now, you have to understand how this works, how technology works. It doubles. That's how it works. When you talk about memory for your computer, or even when you're talking about storage for your computer, it's multiples. It's always in multiples. Because that's how it goes. And so AI, which is smarter than humans, it is faster than humans, is going to grow at an alarming rate. We need to be concerned about this AI threat, and I'm not trying to fearmonger with it or anything like that. No, it just means you just need to keep doing what you've been doing. Keep prepping in the ways you've been prepping. But put it on your radar. Because all of the things that we discuss, whether it be nuclear conflict, whether it be EMP, whether it be cyber attack on the power grid, or what have you, You realize all of these things could actually be caused by AI. AI could most certainly infect our military's computers and launch missiles. I damn well believe it could. It would figure it out. That's the nature of the beast. AI will figure it out. And in a pretty alarming time frame as well. I don't know. And this whole thing, this first article I've got for you, I don't know what to think about it. And let me tell you why. So, if we sat here and we war game why these senators would be issued these satellite phones, we could come up with a ton of scenarios. And I think one scenario that a lot of people would migrate to, and rightfully so, I get it, would be because of a coming conflict. China, Russia, what have you. But not so quick. The reason why I question that is because if there's conflict involving Russia, China, they're going to take out the satellites. So those satellite phones are going to be useless. Just saying. So I think there's probably another reason, a different reason other than that. I think we could probably rule out conflict, war. Because again, that's going to be primary targets in a big conflict between superpowers, Russia, US, China. They're going to be taking each other's satellites out, bigger than shit, as quick as possible. You got GPS, you've got communication, you've got data transfer, you've got all kinds of stuff. Not to mention, I'm sure, weapons of war up there. So while we're down here, hoping things don't go boom, they're going to be going to combat in space. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I think there was a whole lot of space operations long before Space Force was even a wet dream. I know there was, because there was in the 80s. Star Wars. It was a real thing. Not just on a movie. What was that movie? Spies Like Us. Hilarious movie. So if you're not old like me, you probably haven't heard of it. Spies Like Us. Chevy Chase. I believe Dan Aykroyd. I believe. Hilarious. Gotta watch it. If you like Stripes, you'll like Spies Like Us. Anyway, I don't know. And by the way, I don't think it's for what I see glaring at me, underlined right in my face, assault on the U.S. Capitol. I don't think that is why either. Says here, amid growing concerns of security risks to members of Congress, more than 50 senators have been issued satellite phones for more emergency communication. People familiar with the measures told CBS News. The devices are part of a series of new security measures being offered to senators by the Senate Sergeant at Arms, who took over shortly after the assault on the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. The satellite phone technology has been offered to all 100 senators. CBS News has learned that at least 50 have accepted the phones, which Senate administrative staff recommended senators to keep in close proximity during their travels. In testimony before Senate Appropriations Committee last month, Senate Sergeant at Arms Karen Gibson said satellite communication is being deployed to ensure a redundant and secure means of communication during a disruptive event. Now, Biden craps himself again. Use the satellite phone so the news don't pick up on it. Gibson said the phones are a security backstop in the case of an emergency that takes out communication in parts of America. You listening? Federal funding will pay for the satellite airtime needed to utilize the phone devices. Well, of course, it's on us. We know. A Department of Homeland Security advisory said satellite phones are a tool for responding to and coordinating government services in the case of a man-made or natural disaster that wipes out communication. Gibson has also opened an office demonstration space in the basement of the Russell Senate Office Building to offer senators and staff an exhibition of new home state office security upgrades. The demonstration room offers exhibitions of duress buttons, mail screening devices, and safety glass to reduce the risk of attacks. In her testimony before the Senate panel in April, Gibson reported our team provided initial physical security enhancements for 31 offices, the Democrats, and improved existing security for 52 others in 2022. More Democrats. Maintaining security systems in good working order is a priority, and to support this effort, our team conducted over 622 service calls to maintain, repair, and/or test and inspect state office physical security systems in 2022. Hard at work. Senate administrators have also offered Stop the Bleed training to better equip staffers to respond to medical emergency and victims of attacks. Okay. How is this related to giving them sat phones? Okay. In April, the House Sergeant at Arms William McFarland told legislators there is robust participation in a program to help House members secure their home residences. McFarland said that House administrators are coordinating with local police departments to help protect members of Congress who hold events in their home states and to help better secure the homes of members. Make sure that they're A-OK while they just keep raping us. Yeah. A spending bill passed in late 2022 providing additional funds for hometown security measures for Congress. The legislation required security administrators to enhance member protection, including providing a security program for congressional leadership, expanding dignitary protection division services, and expanding USCP field office presence, which would deploy and broaden Capitol Police protection in cities outside of Washington. Well, let me ask you this. Has there ever been, in the history of man, any kind of writings or anything at all about a government that fears its people? I don't know. Thought I'd ask. If you think of something, let me know. It might have been a good idea to say at some point throughout the BC time, or the AD time period. Sorry, I'll get it right. Or BC. Hell, it don't matter. I don't know. I don't know that this is a big deal. I don't know that it's not. I will say it's notable. But don't think this is going to be related to a military conflict, because, nah. They ain't going to use these lines of communication, satellite phones for that kind of, well, hell. They won't even be calling them in. Who are we bullshitting? Senate, House, nah. They don't get a hold of them to go to war anymore. Let's go drone the shit out of stuff. Let's ask Syria. I don't know. Turkey? Iraq. Iran. Not Iran yet. Afghanistan. Insanity. Now, there's something else that's insanity in my opinion, and that would be cutting off the electricity to a nuclear power plant. And I'm sure probably most of you know that a nuclear power plant has to have power coming in from outside the plant in order for it to fulfill its duties. They have backup generators at power plants and they have redundancies when it comes to that, but they don't have 5 million redundancies. You know, if you're stuck for any long-term period on backup power, you risk the chance of redundancies failing. Not a good thing. Anyways, it says Ukraine cuts electricity to Europe's largest nuclear power plant. Russia's Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, located near the front line with Ukraine, has been cut off from external energy supply, according to a message posted on the facility's official Telegram channel on Monday morning. The radiation level is normal. Vladimir Rogov, a member of the main council of administration of Zaporozhye region, stated that diesel emergency power standby generators have been brought online to maintain the plant's operations after the Dnieper high-voltage power supply lines were cut off. According to Rogov, Ukrainian nuclear operator Energoatom, I don't know, Energoatom. You just worded out something hell, I can't even speak anything after that shit. They're responsible for the shutdown. And yeah, I feel you. The Zaporozhye power plant, the largest nuclear facility in Europe, has been at the center of the conflict since Russian and Ukrainian forces in recent months. It came under Russian control in February 2022. Since then, Moscow and Kiev have accused each other of shelling the plant, with each claiming that the other's actions could trigger a nuclear disaster. Zaporozhye region became a Russia following a referendum in September 2022. Yeah, and I would say that they'd been pushed out far enough that if they're lobbing stuff in at the power plant, that's intentional. So, because Russia's had that for some time now. Well, February 2022, so. Oh, well, and the referendum was in September, so. Pretty much no excuses for Ukrainian shelling of the plant. And then we've got this witch that, doing those witchy things. I got a headline up here. What? Let's see. Okay, that's shared out. It'll be up there when we get there. U.S. will default if debt deal fails, says Treasury Secretary. And as I've been saying, and as I'll say once again, they'll figure it out. Right? They do it every time. And they get people all up in the room and back and my God, how are they going to fix the roads? Right? Stop. Just stop. The best damn thing that could happen to this nation would be for the government to default. Stop. This is exactly what we prepare for. Stop. It would be a blessing. It would be an absolute blessing if we defaulted. Hey, man, I've said it a million times. People had a choice. They had a choice a decade, 2 decades ago to put a lid on this crap. And I said back then, I said that you can either sacrifice a little now and get back control of it, or sacrifice everything later, and who knows how it's going to turn out. Well, guess what? We're at the later point. We're at the later point. I didn't do it, and I can't do nothing about it. All I can do about it is make sure that we are the best prepared that we can be. Try to encourage those around me to be the best prepared that they can be. And then deal with the situation as it comes when it happens. But to sit there and freak out and be... Look, the best damn thing that could happen to this nation would be a default. Period. Unless you enjoy this shit. Thank you, sir. May I have another? I mean, that's every time somebody cries because the debt might default. I'm thinking, thank you, sir. May I have another? Thank you, sir. May I have another? It's time we stop. It's time we stop. Anyway, let's see what the hag has to say. America's chances of paying its bills after June 1 are quite low. Aww. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen warned on Sunday in an interview with NBC's Meet the Press. According to Yellen, if Congress fails to reach an agreement on raising the country's $31.4 trillion borrowing limit by that time, it will be forced to default on some bills shortly after. There's always uncertainty about tax receipts and spending, and so it's hard to be absolutely certain about this. But my assessment is that the odds of reaching June 15 while being able to pay all of our bills is quite low. My assumption is that if the debt ceiling isn't raised, there will be hard choices to make about what bills go unpaid, said Yellen. Or Yellen said. Potato, potato. That's an ugly woman, is it not? Ew. Yeah. That's like the shit that horror movies are made of right there. Anyway, the Treasury Secretary did not say which bills she had in mind, but noted that the government's most immediate obligations range from paying interest on outstanding debt to obligations to seniors who count on Social Security, military contractors who provided services to the government. You know what? There's actually a law that says that Social Security has to be paid. But yet they use that every damn time as part of the fear-mongering. Every damn time. There's a law that says it doesn't matter. It's got to get paid. Whether they pass the debt ceiling limit, whether they pass the budget, whether they pass the toilet paper back and forth as they shit each other, it has to get paid. That's not an option. If you have a day that you wake up and they're saying, oh, Social Security's not going to be paid, that day, my friends, is the day that the United States government really no longer exists. It's a law on paper. So I know every time they do this, there's tons of fear. Oh my God, Social Security. There's a law. They can't cut it. They can't cut it. Anyway. Says here, the administration of U.S. President Joe Biden and Republicans led by House Speaker Kevin McCarthy have been at an impasse over raising the debt ceiling for several months. You know, the whole drama thing, they got to play it up. Despite warnings that the U.S. could face its first ever default unless it's raised by June 1st. Now, okay, so there's not any money being put on this because, like, you're not supposed to gamble, yo. But my bet is, with no money involved, that it's going to pass. It's going to be just fine. You can be just fine. Now, it might be one of those nick of time things, like it is every frickin' time, but it'll pass in the nick of time. In the nick of time. Because it's a battle. It's a battle being in. Don't you see how they can never get anything done because everything's such a battle? And all you can do is go vote and be a part of that battle because it's so passionate. It's bullshit, folks. It's bullshit. All of it. Every damn bit of it. And the longer we allow them to bullshit us, the longer they're gonna do it. I don't know what to tell people. I don't. It's frustrating. I've been screaming for a long time. Much, much, much longer than before I started doing YouTube. And I'm wore out. I'm pissed off. Because there are some of us that were getting the shit kicked out of us from pretty much the beginning. Estranged fathers, anyone? How many estranged fathers out there have been having the shit kicked out of them for decades? Decades. Some of us are tired. Some of us have been sacrificing for a long fucking time. That's why I get a little frustrated when the boomers just now act like as they tell everybody else that this is how you gotta do this, this is how you gotta do that, this is how. Learn to code. Learn to code. When all your oil workers lose their jobs, learn to code. The miners lose their jobs, learn to code. Learn to code. Learn to code. All I got to say about that. I am so frustrated by the fake fight in government, in Congress, in the Senate, the House. It is and has been nothing but bullshit for as long as I can remember. I got on the internet. Woohoo! No, I got on the internet like 30 frickin' years ago, right? Do you know what my nickname was? One of them? Dead Furby was one of them, but that's not the one I'm talking about. I was proud of Dead Furby, though. Bill Clinton sucks. That tell you anything? Possibly? I'm tired. Chinese delegation visits Moscow for security consultations. Top Russian and Chinese security officials met in Moscow on Monday to discuss cooperation between the two nations in various areas. The press service of Russia's Security Council has said. The prospects for joint efforts in the law enforcement sphere in various areas of operational and service activities have been considered. Special attention was paid to plans for cooperation between the Russian Guard and the People's Armed Police of China, as well as between financial intelligence services, the statement said. The talks involved an unspecified number of representatives of various ministries and government agencies of the two countries, according to the Russian side. The two sides discussed various issues, including international information security, as well as contacts between supervisory and investigative bodies of the two nations. The Chinese delegation was led by Chen Wenqing, a member of the Chinese Communist Party's Politburo. He was recently named Secretary of the Central Political and Legal Affairs Commission, the country's top security post with oversight of judges, police, and intelligence. Russia's delegation was led by Russian Security Council Secretary Nikolai Patrushev. The high-profile security talks, which are held annually, are part of an integral and in-demand element of the Russian-Chinese Comprehensive Partnership and Strategic Cooperation, the press service said. Now, as the thing that you want to pick up there annually, this isn't like something that unexpected and new, right? This was the second major Russia-China security event in just over a month. In mid-April, China's newly appointed defense minister Li Shangfu visited Moscow, where he met his Russian counterpart Sergei Shoigu, President Vladimir Putin, and other top officials during a 3-day stay in Russia. Li said at the time that the trip was intended to underscore Beijing's firm determination to strengthen strategic cooperation between the militaries of China and Russia. After my appointment as the defense minister, my first visit is made to Russia in order to demonstrate to the outside world the high level of Chinese-Russian relations, he said ahead of the talks with Shoigu. So, yeah, I hear you there about ChatGPT. I've actually used ChatGPT. And I haven't employed any of the code because I just did it for the hell of it. I've had ChatGPT actually write me Joomla code just for the hell of it. I mean, just to see if it could do it. And that damn thing is amazing. I could actually build one hell of a website with ChatGPT, but I don't really have the motivation. I mean, why? Got a website, nobody's really interested in it. Why? I don't think anything's extra crazy about this. Now, this, however, could be important. China bans purchases from U.S. chip maker. Shares of Micron Technology, the largest U.S. maker of computer memory chips, fell as much as 5% on Monday after China's cybersecurity regulator banned purchases of the company's products on concern that they pose significant security risks. Micron's chips could compromise Beijing's critical information infrastructure, such as government-owned banks and telecommunications networks, the Cyberspace Administration of China said on Sunday. Idaho-based Micron failed a security review that the CAC began in March. The probe comes after Washington's efforts to stymie advances in China's semiconductor industry through export controls and sanctions. The purpose of this network security review of Micron's products is to prevent product network security issues from endangering the security of the country's key information infrastructure, which is a necessary measure to maintain national security, the CAC said. China firmly promotes high-level opening to the outside world as long as it abides by Chinese laws and regulations. Companies from all countries and various platforms are welcome to enter the Chinese market. Micron stock traded as low as $64.76 on Monday morning in NASDAQ trading, down from its close at $68.17 on Friday. Prior to Monday's decline, the shares had risen 36% this year. The company reportedly relies on the Chinese market for about 10% of its annual revenue. So, basically, this is just tit for tat. Back and forth. Look at all the bans that we've had, and believe me, they're political. They're not because they're concerned about security issues. All I got to do is name one company, DJI. The United States government has had a hard-on for DJI. Now, the deal is, they really do make about the best drones for what we need to use them for. The U.S. alternatives aren't very good. They're just not. That was nothing but a political thing, and it was dumb. It was dumb. I think what happened is I think that people in administration probably had individuals whispering in their ear that, hey, we got U.S. drone companies. Yeah, but our drone companies suck. Bad. We've got Skydio, we've got Autel, and I mean, don't get me wrong. They work, but they are a far cry from what DJI puts out and has been putting out for some time. Believe me, they're not interested in my sunset pictures. They're not even interested in search and rescue pictures. What is it that our government is concerned that China might see? Police car chases? See what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make any sense. We certainly wouldn't be using DJI drones to go scope out the spots we're going to launch attacks, are we? No. So all of this fear-mongering over DJI, it was nothing but a political bullshit move. Just try to smack China, because DJI makes a shit ton of money from sales. They do. They're the big dog. Plain and simple, they're the big dog. It was a political, financial thing. It had nothing to do with security issues. London bars whites from internship posting. Says here, a paid internship posting at UK government transit body Transport for London restricted to non-white applicants has triggered widespread outrage after it was posted to social media on Saturday. The Stuart Ross Communications internship, which pays a total of £21,824 or $27,134 for 11 months of London-based hybrid working with 1 or 2 days per week in the office, requires the applicant to be of Black, Asian, and minority ethnic background, defined as having some African, Afro-Caribbean? Would that be like Rastafarian and stuff, I guess? Maybe? Anyway, Asian or other non-white heritage. Can you explain white to me exactly? Because I don't think I've got white in me. I've got German. I've got Native American Indian, right? And I've got Irish, but I don't have white. And now, by name, Jen does, so I can't help her out any, but by name, I can't help Jen, because they spelled it out on the label, right? But me, nah, I don't think there's any white in my family, really. And if you knew my dad, you'd probably agree with that. There probably isn't any white in my family. We're pretty red. We're pretty red. Whether that be the Native American part or the redneck part. We're pretty red. So. Nonsense. Anyway, U.S. Air Force Chief comments on impact of F-16s in Ukraine. And I just gotta say I agree with this guy. U.S. Air Force Chief Frank Kendall has poured cold water on claims that F-16s will have a significant impact in helping Ukraine defeat Russian forces, conceding that the American-made fighter jets won't be a game changer for Kiev because air power isn't playing a decisive role in the conflict. Well, there's a reason why it's not. Because Russia owns the airspace. I mean, but, no, I don't think, because here's the thing. It takes more than just having them. You got to be able to use them, and use them good. Like, better than the Russian pilots that you're going up against that have been doing it for many years, and you're new to the F-16, and good luck. Good luck. By the way, the F-16s, they're neutered. You don't get the real F-16s. You don't get our F-16s. You don't get Israel's F-16s. Oh, hell no. No. Nah. You're getting the base model. You'd be lucky to have an AM radio in that bitch. We're here. Everybody's like, thank God. I gotta have a vape. Oh, there's a number 1 up there. I got a number 1. Bitch, didn't I already cover that? Jeez. Well, we gotta make sure you know. Hang on. We gotta make sure you know, because you're not scared, right? Are you scared? Do you feel scared? Well, you should be scared. You should look at that face, man. Tell me you shouldn't be scared. Look at that. Look her in the eye. We're supposed to be petrified. Are you petrified? Yeah, me neither. U.S. highly likely to default. Good. Okay. Good. What date? The 1st? Could we move that up any? Tomorrow? It's a weekday. Don't look at me like that. Anyway, sorry. I'll stop taking bong hits before the show. No, I won't. Hey, I don't even own a bong, and that's a fact. I need to fix that. Anyway, U.S. highly... Oh, wait, I do own a bong. Sorry, I do, but my bowl's broke. Yeah, you're ugly. Anyway. Back to this crap. People never been here before. They'd stop in for a moment and they'd be like, this guy's on crack. Nah, I'm not a crackhead in real life. I just play one on YouTube. Alright. China accuses Japan of smear campaign. Well, what they smear? Was it like body paint? Or was it like jelly? Or, what did they smear? We need to know. Russia accounts for lion's share of India's oil imports, says Reuters. Exactly how much is a lion's share? Is that like equated in barrels? Or, Steve? What's a lion's share of oil, buddy? Russia-China trade nears benchmark, says Moscow. Japan boost Russian grain imports, says data. Russia implementing oil output cut, says Kepler. There's like nothing in between the K and the P. How the hell do you do that? Kepler. That might be right. I don't know. Moscow rips Washington for approving Ukrainian strikes in Crimea. Armenia ready to recognize Nagorno-Karabakh as part of Azerbaijan, says Prime Minister. That would be a cooling down of events there. Now, what all that means, I don't remember. I don't remember enough about those regions. I can't remember who's supposed to be the good guy, who's supposed to be the bad guy. I don't have a clue. Pardon me. EU not planning to reconnect key Russian bank to SWIFT, said an official. Come on, just plug the Ethernet cable back in. Knock it off. Belarusian opposition activist Protasevich pardoned. He should be with that name. I mean, shit, give the guy a break. Oh, state media said that. German military puts tons of toilet paper up for auction, just in case any of you are in the market. Check out Germany. But I hear the toilet paper is a little rough, right? I mean, I heard that you can use it for either toilet paper or to sand your car down to bare metal, whichever comes first. German people are tough. You know why? Because they use sandpaper for toilet paper. Let's see. Ukrainians likely involved in... I mean, you would be a rough character, too, if you did that, right? It doesn't... By the time you're done potty trained, you're a badass. Let's see. Ukrainians likely involved in Nord Stream blast, says media. U.S. will default... Oh, I've done fear-mongered you about that. You're scared, right? Okay. First Saudi woman heads to space. Sweet. I think that's awesome, by the way. Ukrainian saboteurs intrude into Belgorod region, says Moscow. Facebook parent Meta fined 1.2 billion euros by Irish watchdog. EU state reveals ongoing contact with Russia. Russian tycoons prepare takeover of Europe's answer to Google, says media. Ukraine won't join NATO anytime soon, says Scholes. Let's see. Erdogan election defeat would be revenge, says Syrian Kurds. Finland scraps pipeline gas supply deal with Russia. I don't know why I'm getting Japan. Turkish government rebukes Russian election interference claims. Navalny to be branded foreign agent, says RT Russian. Okay. China bans purchase... Oh, I covered that. Biden better than Trump, says Germany's Scholes. Right. I mean, shouldn't that guy be like replaced? Just for thinking that? I mean, shouldn't that be like an automatic cognitive skill test or something to say that? I mean, I'm not a fan of Trump, but come on. I mean, at least Trump can say a complete sentence when he wants to. Ex-Soviet state threatens to leave Russian-led military alliance. Owen Wilson's home burglarized by homeless men. This is what I mentioned earlier. Biden predicts China thaw. Turkish election third-place finisher endorses Erdogan. China questions sincerity after Biden calls for talks. U.S. reacts to Israeli order greenlighting illegal settlements. Kiev to rescind honor for Ukrainian-born Soviet leader. Peace plans are absolutely wrong, says the UK. U.S. media disconnected from public, says a poll. I would say accurate. Choose us, choose us or Russia, EU tells Serbia. Ukrainian raid on Russian border region injures 8 civilians, says governor. Truth Social sues Washington Post for defamation. Let's see. Drone bombs hit Russian border region, says governor. Quote-unquote Karen gets Uber diversity chief suspended. Cold War icon complains about pension. U.S. distances itself from Ukraine's cross-border raid. Well, when can we, distance ourselves from the cross-dressers? Because we're kind of waiting for that. I said I was exhausted, didn't I? Yeah. It's just mind-blowing where we sit today. Shit, even 20 years ago, I wouldn't have imagined a lot of the crap that's going on there. No. Hell no. Nope. Not even close. Some of it I knew was coming. The economic stuff, I mean, that was a given. I mean, all 2008 was a Band-Aid. It was a Band-Aid on one side, and on the other side, it was a kick in the can down the road. So, it was the worst of both worlds, I guess. Now it's time to pay the piper for that, plus the new messes. So yeah, I knew that the financial situation was going to be nasty. But there's a lot of this stuff. It's wacky. I think this is an op-ed, yep. Anyway, I am going to get the hell out of here. I am going to go to bed in a little bit. Forget about all of this bullshit for a little bit until I wake up again and go, oh shit. 'Tis the way. Anyway, I am out of here. I hope you all have a good evening. God willing, I'll be back tomorrow if Hillary doesn't drone me. And we'll do this again. So, as always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.